What's cracking, mi gente? This your boy D once again, coming by to ready to drop some love and a little bit of knowledge. Today, I'm gonna be speaking about an incident that occurred back in the motherland. And this story does not belong to me. This story was told to me with one of my good friends that's currently incarcerated. And I want to just bring it up to you guys because I think it has a good message behind the whole ordeal that happened. Plus, I think we can start learning about a little bit about our motherland, El Salvador, how people view us and why people view us that way. The sentence is wrong, but I'm gonna be talking about it, especially now. Also, making the announcement that this individual is gonna be telling me different stories. He's been incarcerated for almost 27 years. He got some great stories about the Mexican mafia, what he went through, what he's seen, especially back in the motherland, and also here in the United States in prison. He's no longer active, but that does not mean anything. And when I say he's no longer active, I just want to clarify because I don't want people to say, "Oh, why are you telling us and why stories you never been there or you haven't done?" So he's gonna be telling me stories from both sides when he was active, plus the wars that happened in the SNYRs. So, like I said, I don't know much about it, at least from that side, the SNY side, because I haven't been on an established yard and I haven't never been in a yard that had all these gangs that were considered SNY. To me, they're all gangs, but I'm gonna be speaking about it deeply with a lot of details throughout what he witnessed on both sides of the fence and what he also witnessed the story. Today is about introduction of himself and what he went through in El Salvador and kind of get a setup about the PTSD that I'm gonna be talking about. With that being said, man, please don't forget to hit the like button. Please don't forget to subscribe if you haven't done so yet. Do it and leave a comment. Tell me what you think. Tell me how you feel. If you like the content or if you want to learn a little bit more about the motherland, let me know. I will answer to you guys as soon as I can, man. With that being said, let's get into this topic. So I met this guy when I was active, when I was in Kern Valley. Um, I met him throughout the years. He was Salvadorian. Of course, he belonged to a gang that was from Orange County. But what brought us together was his demeanor. You know, he was always respectful. He was always well established. He was always well thought. And little by little, after getting to know each other, either through our dealings or through our conversations, him being in the court playing soccer with us until we work out together, I got to like him. I took a liking to him. He was an older dude. They had a lot of knowledge. Plus, he was an older dude that you can come and be like, hey, you know what? I'm going through some stuff. And he will be sit there and listen to. That doesn't happen in prison. It's rare that you find somebody that you can come and sit down with and have a conversation about what you got going on, your family and things like that. It's rare to have a prison person that's gonna not gonna judge you and be like, man, you weak fool. What are you telling me about your problems for? You in prison, you alive for like, a lot of misconceptions get scrutinized in prison. So when I found him, I started talking to him. Two things I liked him. He was not my homeboy, but he was somebody that I felt some type of closeness to. I looked at him as one of my uncles. So we got to know each other real good. We stay in communication. When I came home, he was the only person when I was fighting my case that will check in on me. Will ask the people that were in touch with him, "Hey, how you do? How's he doing? How's the case going? Is he gonna come home?" And I will get this message, and that will make me feel good and make me realize that I have a friend, an actual friend in prison. And it's rare that you find that in prison. So I will always send a message back. And when I came home, I got at him. I told him, "Hey, whatever I could do for you, I'm here." And this is the person that I told you guys in my life. I got a letter from him, and he gave me the bad news that he was diagnosed with colon cancer. Everything is going smooth for him right now. It is going well, but it shocked me. It pained me to know that he was going through a pain because sometimes he tells me, he calls me. We have conversations often, like he's going through some things, and it hurts me to know that he's going through this pain, and I can help And the only way I can kind of help him is like when he calls, take him out of that life, take him out of that prison system, and just tell jokes. We relax, we conversate. So, and then we start talking, and I told him I had a channel. He was like, I have a lot of stories, but I never pushed him to be like, hey, come into my channel, let's do this, let's do that, because I didn't want him to feel used. So he started telling me, I knew his family was guerrilleros. They were from the military back in the war, were called guerrilla families in El Salvador, the FLMLN. So FMLN, for the people that doesn't know what it stands for. It was a branch they got made for the people that were being oppressed in El Salvador in the war. They broke off in the 70s and went out through all of the 90s. They were fighting the government because a lot of people make these guerrilla groups and militant groups like they were the bad guys, and that's not actually true. These militant groups came out about because the government was oppressing these citizen people. They were destroying them. They were going to the house, disposing them of everything that they have, and they were throwing them to the rocks. They were actually forcing people that were going to universities and they were going to college. They would come in there and trying to recruit people and be like, come fight for your country, come fight for the motherland. We got these campesinos, these village people trying to take over, la la la. It was discriminatory. And a lot of people had the wrong idea that it was, they were bad. They were a bunch of savages, militant group opposition the government. It wasn't even that. They were the opposition to the government, but they were help out the people, the poor kind, the people that used to live on those little pueblitos, the little villages, you know what I mean? So people are seeing it from a different perspective, and I'm gonna be speaking about this a little bit further and in depth because a lot of people have a misconception of MS-13 as well. They see MS-13 gang members and they go, oh, they're a bunch of rapists, oh, they're a bunch of satanic, demonic people that just worship the devil. That's not actually true. The news and the people in the government and the positions want you to think that way. So when you see one of them, you can despise them, hate them, and report them, but that's not actually true, man. So we're gonna start with the story. It was in 1979. We're gonna call him. I want to find a. We're gonna call him B as a Victor, right? So V, he was the son of a mother and father that were farmers. The father was one of those hard-headed Salvadorians that it was his way or no way. The mother was a humble young lady that would come home and was the wife of somebody. But also the father, once the war broke off, he had some type of influence. He started mingling and dingling and getting into political movements on the right side, which was the government side, the left side that was the militant side. So he was trying to become a judge at some point, for what I was told. And so he had friendships in highest places. Well, V had a brother, we're gonna call him Lieutenant. He was a lieutenant in the guerrilla warfare, Teniente, that was going to college, a university. So they start seeing that this group of military soldiers will come there and recruit guys and be like, look, we're here to recruit you guys because the government are fighting these evil guys and this and this. And they will put tacos and the sauce in the tacos and all that good stuff, right? And without V knowing, his brother was already involved in the guerrilla. His brother was already escalating the ranks to become somebody in the guerrilla warfare. He didn't know nothing about it. He was 10 years old. His brother was already in his 20s. So, but he looked up to his brother. That was his role model. That was the love that he had for his brother, was something else, because the other brothers they had and sisters, he didn't really get along. He didn't talk to them like that. But the older brother, they were close. So these guys, the lieutenant and some of his friends, that were about 15, 16 of them guys that were always together, they were always playing soccer, they were always doing their thing, and they're always getting in trouble together. They were a group. So this group came up with a brilliant idea on their head to say, we're gonna make up a host. We're gonna make up a host, and we're gonna make it seem like we got kidnapped by the guerrilla to see how the family is gonna react. and they were trying to see how his father was going to react because his father was politically involved with the people in El Salvador. So they decided to go ahead and kidnap themselves. So they told the boys that the people that were, see, in Sonsonate, where the area he was from, there were certain groups that were from the guerrilla that were split up on like sections and groups. His group was called Tres Cruces, Three Crosses, basically. And there was other groups around them, the selva, which is the how can I put it, the word selva, the jungle, basically. That's not the word to put it, the jungle around him. But his group was more active in a way that they were actively trying to look for soldiers, that were actively trying to disturb the groups, that were actively recruiting, that were actively trying to tell the poor people, you don't have to be alone, you can support us, you can do this, then do that. So he was escalating the ranks. The lieutenant was escalating the ranks to the point where, at that point, when he got fake kidnapped, he was a sergeant in arms. So he came up with this brilliant idea, brought it to the person that was in charge. I said, we can get people to come to us because a lot of these dudes that I hang around with, their family got power. We can get people to come to us. We can start recruiting people because they're gonna look like these decent families got their son kidnapped by the guerrilla or by the government. We don't know who did it, but they went over there and got snatched up at our university, and the whole conflict will start, and then people start choosing sides. So they created this whole idea of them getting kidnapped. All 16 of them, 15 of them get kidnapped. They send one guy, they left one guy, and that guy was in charge of going to the families and telling them basically, look, you're going to go over there and you're going to tell them that their kids got kidnapped by the guerrilla and that they're going to be calling them or sending them letters to demand the ransom, and they have to pay it. So they were trying to collect money to get some arms, some guns, or to get some food, or to get some type of organization going. So they decided to kidnap themselves. So when they were being let out of school, the other group that backed them up from their friends, the guerrilla friends, they started run up on the school, kidnap all these 15 of these guys and take them to the jungle. V was a 10-year-old. He had cousins that were around the time and a little bit older. They don't tell him what's going on or nothing. He hears the conversation when they're telling his parents, hey, your son got kidnapped along with other 15 people. We don't know where they are. We don't know what they're going to demand. We just know that he was kidnapped by the guerrilleros. His cousin Victor decides to come up with a bright idea to go look for their cousin, the teniente, the lieutenant. Here's 4 years old, 4 kids that were 10 years old each. The oldest, I think, was like 11 or 12. V was 9 years old. His cousin was 10. The other 2 friends, Angel and Marcos, were like around 11 and 12. Here goes, you got 4 kids. They hear this, that their cousins, their brothers, and their family have been kidnapped by the guerrilla. They come up with the bright idea as dumb kids to say, we're going to go and try to look for them. Not knowing that the jungle is a dangerous place to be in, not knowing that they don't know where they're located at, they don't know where they're holding it, or they don't know what to expect out of the jungle. They just decide to come with a bright idea and say, we're going to go look for them. And it's funny when I was there and I laughed because it's like, here you got 4 kids, literally kids, 9 to 10 years old, the oldest 12, trying to go against a group of military people that have been trained. They know hand-to-hand combat, and they're killers that will not hesitate to kill you because you're coming into their territory to look for somebody that they got so-called kidnapped. But that's not what it was. They didn't care. They just wanted his brother back. He just wanted his older brother back, and he was going to do anything to get him back. So they decided to put up their petates. And what we call petate is like a little bag sewing up, but like a hammock type of strings. And they decided to put some tortillas, some beans, a little bit of rice, a little bit of things in there, and arm themselves with ondillas. I don't know what's the English word for it, but it's literally a piece of wood about this big. It's made like a Y, and then it got like a strings made out of elastic, and you put like a piece of rubber in the back, and you put a rock on it and you throw it. A lot of people there in Central America will understand what I'm saying. And with a couple machetes on them. They decide to put that. And if we were to look at the kid when he described me, because I asked him, "Well, so what you guys were wearing?" And this what cracked me up in the middle of the story, because he said we were with nothing but chanclas and some shorts and a t-shirt. That's all they were wearing. So imagine these four little chubby kids armed with chanclas, shorts, some type of rock made of something Hondillas and a machete to trying to go look for these guerrilleros that are armed with M16s, AK-47, whatever they were armed with. Grown ass men, and these kids decide to go, hell no, we're gonna go look for it. So they take off without telling anybody. They took off to the jungle. The first day was okay. They walk, they walk, and they walk, and they walk. Then the food start running out. A day went to a week went to 2 weeks, a week turned to 2 weeks. So by the beginning of the second week, them fools didn't have no food. They didn't have no food, no water, nothing. And the worst part is that they didn't know how to hunt. So they start trying to figure out what we're gonna do to eat. Some of them are getting bit by mosquitoes. Some of them getting sick with the jungle fever. Some of them are throwing up because they're eating fruit that they don't know is contaminated or there's poison in. And they're dehydrated, they're exhausted, they don't know where they're going, they're just walking through a jungle and they get lost. So one of them see a rabbit going through and they say, "Oh, that's meat." So they decide to chase it. This dude fall into a sano. It's like a water type of lake that goes down that starts sucking you in. It's infected with nothing but mosquitoes and all type of malicious stuff. So he goes into the water pit. They rush to trying to get him because he was chasing the rabbit and the rabbit fell into there. They trying to get him. They trying to rescue their friend. They finally put him out. He got a bunch of leeches stuck on his chest. They're sucking out the blood. He gets sick. He gets a fever. Almost dying on them. Almost dying on them because of the leeches and everything else. And then reality starts setting in. Angel starts saying he was like the scary one. He's like, "Man, we should go back. We shouldn't do this. This thing's getting dangerous." Then the next day after this incident happened, they happened to walk into a fossa, a hole made out of humans with human remains, like a tombstone out of the ground. And there's human bodies there. There's animals, things there. They start getting scared, and then the worst part is like in the nighttime they will hear voices, they will hear these things. So they were scared. Those four kids, they're scared. Now you have these individuals go and look for the brother, and because they're such in a hurry, they don't realize what they're stepping on, what they're walking through. They saw a big ass circle with blood around it, art on it that was like the Pentagon star. They see animals' heads on it. They see all these type of things, and they're asking themselves, "What the hell is this?" One of the kids didn't see what he was going through, so he ran through the circle, which some people believe on malicious warcraft, witchcraft. Some people don't. I believe on it because it does exist. I believe that there's two powers, the devil and God. So the friend that walked through, all of a sudden he's getting sick, he's getting fever, he's getting all these things, and they're hearing voices, they're hearing a lot of things. So they're scared. Well, one of these subgroups, it wasn't the main group, but there were a subgroup, were crazy. There's no other way to put it. They were doing satanic rituals. They were doing a lot of stuff, and some of them groups used to do it because they used to sniff the powder of the gun to try to stay away. They were mixing a lot of stuff that was in the plant. So there's been things that have happened that there's true that people can say that. So they're looking into it, and finally they run across a group of ladies, and one of the ladies named Mama Tonya. And she asked them kids, "What you guys doing here, kids? You guys are a bunch of kids. What you guys doing?" So they decided to tell her, oh, we're looking for our brother. He got kidnapped by the guerrilla. La, la, la. She asked them, "What you guys got protection on? What kind of protection you guys have on?" They instantly pull out the machetes and the little ondillas, and they're like, "This is what we got." She laughed. She's like, "No, it's spiritual." And he's like, "I don't know what are you talking about." He's like, "Man, listen, you guys gonna stay here the night. I'm gonna do a cleanings for you guys, and I'm gonna do some stuff for you guys. I'm gonna give you guys a couple of gifts, and then you guys are gonna go on your own." She was what we call a curandera in El Salvador. A curandera was like a witch, but she practiced the good religion that heals people and stuff like that, right? So she cleaned them up. She told them, "You guys shouldn't be around here. This is a dangerous situation. You guys don't have no protection. You guys don't even have no symbol in your hands. You guys don't even have nothing on you guys. You guys are tripping." So as they're about to leave the next day, she stops B and tells V, "Your auntie's looking out for you." So I asked him, "Was your auntie there?" He like, "No. She was a curandera as well from El Salvador. She was well known." And I was like, "How does she know what?" Like he like, "That's what I tripped out. She told me her name and everything, and I never seen it in a day of my life." So I was like, "Whoa." So she plays a couple of symbols on their wrists and their hands, and then they go on their way. They're walking and walking lost. Things are keep happening to them. They keep hearing voices at night and nothing. Finally, they get to like a rancho, and they encounter this old man, and he's like, "What are you guys doing here, man?" They try to lie, say they were lost. So he takes them to their ranch, and basically, finally, after he fed them and gave them a warm bath, he tells them like, "You kids are tripping, man. You kids, I don't know what you guys doing here. Nobody had got here this far. You guys shouldn't be here. This is a dangerous place. The guerrilla is up the river or whatever." So they finally tell him like, "Look, we're looking for our brother. He got kidnapped." He's like, "You, like, even if you go looking for him, there's not nothing that you guys are gonna find. These people hide well this, but he's like, if you're looking for their camp." So he gives them direction to the camp. They decide to take off the next day. They go to the camp, find out of nowhere, 4 or 5 people came out of the bushes with M16s, rifles, guns, machetes, and everything, aiming at them and telling them not to move. Is a guerrilla. They have found the small camp. So they tie him up, they drag him there, and V, his cousin Angel, and Victor are telling him like, "Look, man, our cousin been getting up by you guys. Take us to the leader. We want to talk to him. We don't know where he's at. We're looking for him. What the hell's going on? We just want to find our brother." They laugh at them and beat him up and put him on a little choza. It's like a little cell made out of bamboo, and they like throw him there. And they're like, "We're gonna talk to you." So they were steady. I mean, these kids were steady, man. There was nothing I can do but keep telling you guys, these kids were steady. They kept asking for the lieutenant, the sergeant, whoever was in charge, because they wanted to see their brother. They were telling me, "Look, our brother got kidnapped. We know he did. You guys haven't. We just want to know what you guys want so we can take him back home." And they're like, "You guys tripping." They laugh at them. They're drugged out. And then that's when they see that this more than likely was the group that was doing all those rituals, that was killing all these people, because at nighttime came, there was a bunch of voices that were yelling, they were having party, and the campsite wasn't that big. It was like probably 10, 15 individuals. But he would see them catching cats, cutting the cat's heart out, sniffing the powder out of the gun powder, sniffing them with some plants and everything. So these guys were whacked out of their mind. The next day, they say they took off to try to go to the main camp because that's what they were going. So these kids are deep in the jungle. They don't know where or how long they be walking. They just know it's been a long time. Finally, 3 days later, and he said the only way I could tell was 3 days later because I saw the sun go up 3 times. They get to the main camp, and he tells, so the guys that push him up, put him up to the dude that was in the front of the camp. He's like, "Hey, we got this little kids. They saying their brothers like la la, bro. Don't pay no mind. Throw them on one of those cells." V tells me that his cousin Victor and Angel goes, "Hey man, isn't that lieutenant over there?" He said far away they see this guy sitting down chilling on one of the benches made out of the wood, drinking, having fun, a bunch of girls with them, and he's laughing his ass off. So they get so angry. He said that he got so angry he started cursing them out. Finally, they telling the guy, "Hey, he's our brother. He's our brother. Let's talk to him." They don't believe him. They don't believe these kids. They probably figure, "Oh, these kids are trying to get one over us. They're bushing in. They don't know what they're doing." So they put him on a little cell. So they so angry that they decide, we don't care if they beat our asses. We don't care if they come in here and hit us with the butt or the gun. We're gonna get this full attention one way or another until he comes here. We're gonna talk to him. So Victor, Angel, and everybody else start yelling this fool's name. They start yelling his name. Lieutenant, Lieutenant, Lieutenant. Finally, he hears his name being called. He looks up, so he walks up there to try to figure out what's that racketing noise is about. He walks over there and he sees these dudes, his cousin Angel and Victor. They start cussing him out instantly. "You mother flower, you son of a gun. How you gonna be sitting here and you don't know what we've been through? It's been 3 weeks. We've been hungry. We've been this." V is in the background just listening because he's so angry he can't even speak. He can't even comprehend that his brother would do some stuff like that to put their parents through so much pain, him through an ordeal of 3 weeks of suffering through the jungle. He's angry. So he said, Lieutenant finally opens the door and walked in, and he just take off on him. He started rushing. He started two-piecing. Mind you, he's a 10-year-old kid against a 21, 22 grown-ass men. I mean, not a grown-ass man, but he's already at that age. You know what I'm saying? So they start. He said that he started two-piecing him, start taking off on his brother, trying to hug him, tell him his school's okay, come down. Then his cousins jumped in, then his friends jumped in. So he said all four of them and start beating his ass. So he said the people outside see their sergeant getting attacked by this individual they just captured. So one of them, they're coming there and fire a shot, and they hit Victor on the lower stomach. Luckily for Victor, the bullet went in and out. It went through and through, clean. And the lieutenant gets up. He's like, "Nah, man, calm down, calm down. They're really my people. They're really my cousins. They're really my brothers. Don't shoot." So he's like, "Hey, I'm sorry, Sergeant. We didn't know that." He's like, "Nah, it's okay." So he's getting angry. So he gets up out of the floor and socked his brother in the chin. And he's mad. So they take care of Victor. They patch him up. They do what they have to do in order for him to survive. The bullet went through and through, so it was clean. And he finally sits down and he's asking him, "Man, why you do this? You're here chilling. These guys listen to you. What's the point of this? What's been going on? What is it that you didn't have a home that make you create this whole hoax of basically kidnapping yourself and what's going on?" So his older brothers tell him, "Look, man, I'm always been a guerrillero. Saw our family and our people suffering through the hands of these righties. The government, they're taking everything. I used to see them go and recruit everybody out of the college, and then we'll never see them again. And then when we do see them, the few that survive to see them again, they were acting like they were better than us." He said, "We had to do something for our people. We had to stand up for our gente. So we suffer enough, so we had to do something." He's so young that he's not understanding what's going on, but he always had looked up to his brother. He always had respected his brother. He always had love for his brother. So he's trying to comprehend the knowledge his brother's telling him. He said, "We should stand up for our people. We should fight for our people. Our people have been oppressed by the government for so long. I don't think it's fair." So he said he started asking questions. They had a conversation. They sat down and everything. He's like, "What about our mother and father? What are we gonna do?" And that's when he comes to find out that his father was somebody in the government, that he was trying to be a judge, that he had juice enough to pull, but he never used that juice to pull to figure out where his son was. And that was resonating with V because he's like, "How can our father do this to you? How can he not move earth and heaven to trying to figure out where you were at?" So Lieutenant tells him, "Look, our father never agreed with the movement. Our father always gonna be for the right, for the right, for the right." And it down on V that his father really didn't care what they went through. But at the same time, he didn't want to leave his mother down. So he asked his brother what's gonna happen next, what are you gonna do? So his brother tells him who he is, what he's about, what he wants for the movement of the guerrilla, where he wants to take the movement for the guerrilla further. V gets so fascinated, he starts asking if he could stay. And this is where we cut off the conversation. There's gonna be a second part, basically about how he stood with his brother and what he learned about the guerrilla and why he decided to enjoy the guerrilla and why he enjoyed the cause to fight against the government. So there's gonna be a second part about that. But for today, this is where he left off. And the message that I'm trying to show you to you guys is that sometimes we don't know what we have at home. We don't know how much of we can affect somebody else at home. We don't know what our actions can do to somebody. We don't know how much our actions can lead or mislead people that we care about. Here there was an older brother out of 5 of them. There were 7 kids and he was the 5 of the old ones. He was like the second one. Here you have an older brother doing things for the movement because he believed that he should do something for his country because he didn't want to see his people suffer and get stepped on and spit on and disgraced. And here you got a young kid that looked up to his brother, the one that would do everything for his brother, that looked up to him like a god. And this was the misconception coming to place. The brother thought he was doing something good for him and his people, never thinking and never taking into consideration his action were also affecting the little guy, were also affecting the mother and the father. The father didn't really care, but it was just the mother and the youngest one. Because his brother, his little brother V, was prepared and went through a real ordeal of sacrificing 3 weeks, almost 4 weeks of pure torture and pain, getting sick, getting diseases, almost to the point of dying, to go look for his older brother. And he was sure he would find it. In his heart, he knew he was going to find it. And his heart, he knew he was going to find it and tell him, I love you, I needed you, even though when this happened, I'm here for you. Not knowing that he had planned it all out, he executed it. It was a well thought out plan, but at the end, he didn't count with this little person to go through all this ordeal, this pain, to just look at his eyes and ask him why you do this. And this is why I say, and this is why I started the channel. And this is why I always tell you guys, sometimes we don't know their actions are causing pain. Sometimes we don't know there are say so or actions are causing somebody distraught without knowing. We do things and we're like, it is my life, I do whatever you want. Yeah, but you're not realizing that your actions could cause somebody else to either follow you through your footsteps or actually question you. What would have happened if the soldiers were to kill this man? This young kid would have resented the soldiers so much to the point where probably would have strapped the bomb and went out to the police and just threw a bomb on them. Just hypothetically speaking. So we have to sometimes, as older brothers, as older people, as whatever you have in your household, think about the actions before we make the decision to act on it, because we don't know how that's going to affect either your brother, your sister, your mother, whoever you got around. Sometimes we are selfish enough to say, we're going to do this and this is what's going to be done, and that's it. F everybody else. And that's why I said we're manipulating these youngsters into believing the gang banging is the key, the gang banging is the path to take, the throwing gang signs and going through prison is the path. It's not. But because our actions have let these people believe that that's what it is, they are doing what our actions show them to do. So I tell you guys that have younger brothers, younger sisters, or whatever around that looks up to you, think before you act. Ask yourself, is this worth it? Who will I suffer from this decision that I will make? Because we never know. Here you had a little brother that risked his life with 3 other friends that were ready to go and die in that jungle just so he could go find his brother, or at least find the remains of his brother. That's love. But also that's a stupidity on his older brother's side, because he let him there. He showed the love that he asked for older brother, but the older brother wouldn't give him that enough. to say, you know what, this is what I'm gonna do, and just be okay with it. I hope you guys like this video. I hope you guys enjoy it. And before I leave, I gotta say this to you guys. There's a lot of people shooting me videos on IG and want me to do a reaction to some videos. 3 came to mind, but some people already made a reaction. The prison dude that made the Fifi with the hyena and everything else out of gloves. I didn't want to react to it because one thing, I didn't want people to look at it like I was disrespecting females. Somebody else would be already did a reaction anyway, so I think you guys get the point. 2, there's another video about Cat Williams exposing the industry about how all the Illuminati and all this corrupt government that I always be speaking about, all these corrupt organizations are doing. If you guys want to hear my thoughts on that, let it be known in the comments underneath. I'll do it for you guys, if you guys are willing to listen to that, because I think it's an interesting topic. I think we got to expose the dangers of the big organizations and corporations in America. With that being said, man, you guys already know I say nothing but my love to you guys. Until next one, let's get it.